Utah has been predictable when predicting its presidential candidate. Well, up until 2016, when something shifted, slightly. In 2020, Democratic candidates like Pete Buttigieg, Michael Bloomberg, and Tulsi Gabbard are hoping to nudge the state a little bit more. All three candidates held events in Utah during the same week in February. They weren't the first Democrats to come to the Beehive State this election cycle, but they showed up at a critical time. This is the first election in which Utahns will vote on Super Tuesday. Still, Utah is just one of 14 states that vote on March 3rd. And Utah doesn't have as many delegates as a lot of the other states voting that day. We also have to consider that, according to new polls, for the first time since 2016, a majority of Utahns support President Donald Trump. He's gaining in popularity. If that trend continues, he'll likely win the state again. So why are these Democrats spending critical time in a state that, by current estimates, will go to Donald Trump? We visited a Buttigieg campaign watch party in Salt Lake City the night of the Nevada debate. Toby Kane is one of the 2 campaign staff members in Utah, but she says there are more than 2,000 volunteers.
His commitment to meeting everybody, no matter what state they live in, whether it's Utah or California, shows his commitment to being a president for all Americans, not just those folks who live in traditionally blue places.
Buttigieg's February town hall in Salt Lake City drew a crowd of about 4,500 people, which was one of the biggest events his campaign has seen. At that town hall, Buttigieg tried to appeal to Utahns by mentioning Utah Senator Mitt Romney, whose disagreements with Trump and the GOP have brought Utah into the national spotlight.
Your senator, who I disagree with on all kinds of things, but I think we can agree followed his conscience on this matter, because he was more worried about his relationship with his conscience and with his maker than his relationship with the Republican Party.
Bloomberg also mentioned Romney at his February rally, speaking to a crowd of more than 600.
Mitt Romney proves the Trump fever gripping the Republican Party can break here. And in November, we're going to prove that a Democratic candidate for president can win here statewide.
Romney has voted the party line on a number of issues, but he became the first and only senator in history to vote to convict a president of his own party. He came under attack from President Trump and other members of the Republican Party, but he received some support at home. Billboards like this appeared along I-15 after the vote. That's the major freeway in the Salt Lake Valley. But are Buttigieg and Bloomberg appealing to some of Romney's supporters enough to win in Utah? Electability is one of the big questions Democrats are asking themselves. Who can beat President Trump? Beating Trump in Utah is going to be difficult. Trump came to Utah in December 2017 and promised to help the state and the country grow.
Together, we will usher in a bright new future of wonder and wealth, liberty and law, and patriotism and pride all across this great land. Thank you to the wonderful people of Utah.
Utah's economy is the second healthiest in a thriving national economy, according to U.S. News and World Report. And Utah voters may be less concerned about personality than about policy. This is Boyd Matheson. He's the opinion editor at the Deseret News.
The more the Democrats and the Republicans play this personality game, the more that makes Utahns want to disengage from the process on a national level. Because again, things are working here in the state. People are thriving, doing well, there's opportunity and upward mobility.
But Democrats won't give up their fight. This is Lauren Littlefield, Utah State Director for Bloomberg's campaign.
But our only competitor in this race that we are focusing on as a campaign is Donald Trump. We are seeing countrywide, nationwide, that we need to be united as a country.
Bloomberg has spent more than $500 million of his own money on ads, and at least $2 million in Utah alone. He said he's willing to spend up to $1 billion to beat Trump, even if he's not the Democratic nominee. And again, that might not be enough in Utah. According to a recent poll, 54% of Utah voters support the president. Utah has historically been a red state. In fact, the last time the state voted for a Democrat was in 1964. for Lyndon B. Johnson. Yet, in the summer of 2016, Utah became a battleground state. The state went to Trump that November, but he won with the lowest percentage of any Republican since George H.W. Bush in 1992. Third-party candidate Evan McMullin got 21% of the votes, just under Hillary Clinton's 27%.
Utah is an evolving state, to be sure. I think the vast majority of the state falls somewhere between the center-right and the center-left, which I actually believe is where most of the country actually is. There's sort of this group, we call them the movable middle.
Though whether or not the openly gay Buttigieg or multi-billionaire Bloomberg could be the person that converts that middle is yet to be seen. Bernie Sanders could also be a major competitor here for Utah's Democratic delegates. He won 80% of the votes in Utah's 2016 Democratic caucus, while Hillary Clinton won just over 20%. Sanders opened campaign headquarters in Utah the same week of the Buttigieg and Bloomberg visits. There's still a few months until the Democratic convention, but in such a tight race, every delegate counts. Utah has 29 delegates up for grabs, and these candidates are willing to fight for them.
Because we believe no state is too red for the Democratic Party, or no voter is too liberal or too moderate or too conservative to help us make Donald Trump a one-term president.
It was a busy week in Utah as Democratic candidates visited the state courting voters ahead of the Democratic primaries. Still, the general election is a much bigger battle.